Hey, it's Felipe. Wanted to share a few thoughts about how do we make reparations practical. I wanted to offer 3 quick steps and 3 invitations for you. The first is we have to listen to Black leaders. We need to actually support and follow and come alongside. And my first invitation to you is to say yes to learning from Black leaders. Here's an example. Reverend Dr. Sidney Williams is the lead of Crossing Capital Group, author of Fishing Differently. He's a pastor and former investment banker. I got to know him recently as I was thinking about Black churches and real estate and the challenges about having some autonomy and how they get redeveloped, especially in our gentrifying communities. It's such a complicated question, and he's helping these churches, these communities give space by helping support pre-development money. And he's organized $5 million from the nonprofit finance fund, Anthony Bug Levine, $1 million from Trinity Wall Street to backstop that dollars. It's an incredible opportunity. As I was profiling some of his work, he invited me to come to a conversation he's leading this Wednesday night, April 7th at 7 p.m., to ask the question around, does the Black church owe reparations to the Black community? And I was totally staggered by this, but in the preceding 20-30 minutes, he explained to me this dynamic conversation with 6 Black leaders that he's convening this Wednesday night that I'm so honored just to offer a tidbit of how he thinks cooperative economics might be part of the path forward. My second invitation to you is to think about and recognize that capital supremacy is going to be just as difficult of work to do as our white supremacy work is. Let me explain. So white supremacy, we've gotten to know it's insidious in our institutions, our culture, our practices. We're trying to identify it and root it out. That's the work we've become much more familiar with this past little while. Capital supremacy, I think, is equally difficult personally in terms of the transformation it requires from us, the long, deep, slow, hard work that it asks of each of us. But then to see how it's so tied to our financials and our institutions, and how it's part of our legal system and legal engineering in much the same way that white supremacy is. So let's break it down a little bit. To me, you have to see that every publicly traded company, the managers and board of directors, are required to make sure that the capital's interests, the investors' interests, the publicly traded stockholders, those are required to be, thought of first, and their interests are maximized while other interests are minimized, whether it's workers, the environment, communities. They try to take those into account a little bit to be good to their shareholders, but beyond that, they're really trying to maximize capital's interests. So we exist in a system that almost is exclusively about capital supremacy. Now, cooperatives, employee-owned firms offer a chance to put capital in reciprocal relationship. And this is the transformative part. I think we must begin experimenting. So my second invitation to you, and the second step, I think, to make reparations practical, is to recognize this work and recognize our own stories around money. And resource generation is a movement of young people wrestling deeply with our own formation around money and capital, and recognizing the supreme relationship it is, and how do we think about distributing land, wealth, and power. And I've been very moved by their work. And they have a call this Wednesday, 7 p.m., April 7th, about their transforming finance principles, which I think give a bunch of great examples of what it looks like to build the solidarity economy and invest in that future. So my second invitation to you, wrestle in real ways with capital supremacy and your own money story, your own formation, what it was like growing up, what you learned from your parents. I think these are such important questions. And the third and final invitation to you is to make real some of this stuff by experimenting. We will only be able to tackle these challenges if we are experimenting and trying to move our money, shift our money in very real ways. Whether it's a local Black entrepreneur you support, whether it's a Black fund manager, we need to take more risks in supporting folks right away. I hope you'll join me in this hard journey of trying to make reparations practical.